What's up? This is Parker Jameson from the band Starkill.
Hey, this is David Rivera from Ex Mortis.
This is Cobra Page from Cobra and the Lotus.
Hail and kill everybody. This is Ross the Boss from New York City.
Hi, this is Diana van Giersbergen from Xandria, and you're listening to the Great Metal Debate podcast.
All right, Great Metal Debate listeners, we have a very special session tonight, and so a very warm welcome to Stu the Hammer Marshall and Mr. Jeff Martin of Blasted to Static. Welcome, fellas, to the Great Metal Debate.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Thanks for having us, mate. We appreciate it.
And I'm really looking forward to meeting Stu someday. Well, we're actually doing this over Voxer. We've been writing this album and doing everything from opposite ends of the globe via, our phones and our iPads and stuff, and and any other. I can't even think back. Maybe a couple of years back, it probably wouldn't even be this possible. But it's kind of fun how we're doing this,
Normally, I'd introduce your band lineage, but you guys are so prolific. Can you both just kind of give us a brief rundown of the bands you guys have been in, and then we'll culminate with Blasted to Static?
I guess, I'm certainly not as well known as Jeff, but, I've been pretty busy the last couple of years. I've been very lucky to, I've been in a band called Death Dealer with another guy called Ross the Boss, who was in Manowar, who's a wonderful friend of mine. And
I think I've heard of him.
Yeah, and, we got Sean Peck on vocals, Mike Davis, my soul brother, on bass, who's also in our new band, Blasted Static, and an incredible drummer who's ex-Mike Mangini prodigy, a guy called Steve Bolognesi, who's incredible. So, Death Dealer has been active for the last 3 years. We toured Eastern Europe last year. We hit Moscow. And the year prior to that, we released our debut and currently working on the second album right now. So 2015 is looking really busy. And prior to that, I was in a band called Dungeon, who had a pretty decent career in Japan. And a few people kind of know who Dungeon is. And I've been pretty busy the last 10 years with Empires of Eden. I think I explained this to you before, but Empires of Eden was called an Empires of Eden instead of Stu Marshall solo band because it's not. It's collaborating with some of the most talented, wonderful people on the planet, and we create this epic power metal. Where are we? Album number 4 now. So that's kind of what I've been up to. Is just really working with some of the greatest people, some of the greatest voices on the planet, and just having an absolute ball. So the last 10 years for me, man, has been an absolute musical joy. So that's where it's at.
Great. Jeff, what about you?
Well, I just want to elaborate on what Stu just said. And, he has worked with, and I've listened to a lot of these tracks, and some of these singers are just unbelievable. And how the hell did I get so lucky to stick? and actually, we're going off and making an album on our own. And I'll tell you how that happened. The music that we're writing between us is undeniable. It's very fresh and different.
Excellent.
It's not your normal metal, your normal metal slag. The collaboration that we're doing is really exciting. Every day is something new for us. That we're coming up with. And like I said, we do this on Voxer. So we're recording these things, and our phones record all our conversations, and then we send it off to the next guy, and we can backtrack and listen to what we've been saying to each other. And it blows my mind how we bounce off each other creatively. And that's really, when it comes right down to it, that's all I got going for me is my creativeness. That side of my brain has always fired well, and the whole business side has been a complete dump. So to have somebody like Stu, who's really savvy, and some of his ideas on how to make money again in this business, where we're just a bunch of T-shirt salesmen, is when it comes down to it, is really exciting for me, and mainly somebody I can really trust. I mean, I've trusted a lot of people in the past, and I've been burnt. So, but to get back to your first question, where I came from, kid from Wisconsin. I remember seeing my sister come home from the actual Beatles playing. That's how old I am. But I was just a tiny kid then, and seeing her nylons ripped to shreds and her mascara running down her face, I said, man, I want to be a part of this.
No doubt.
So that's what started me. Ringo Starr started me wanting to be a drummer. And then, a few years later down the line, when I had a brother, and I have a big family, big Catholic family, he came home from college and I still see that album sitting on the corner of our dining room table, Jimi Hendrix, Are You Experienced?
Oh, that's great.
And as soon as I put that as soon as I played that, it changed my life forever. And I not only wanted to be a drummer, but I wanted to be a good drummer.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's talk about Empires of Eden, because that was the experience where you guys really kind of got together. How many songs did you do there, and how did that come about? Stu, why don't you
Well,
tell
with Jeff, I'm allowed to say this because Jeff was in the band, so it might seem a little weird for him to say it, but truth of the matter is that I'm an American metal fan, and American metal for me, in the 80s and sort of early 90s, were, bands like Racer X, Cacophony, we're talking bands like Vicious Rumors. These are the bands that really get my blood pumping, and Racer X were the top. Like, the first two albums for me are still untouchable. So with Empires of Eden, I just want to work with people I love and admire, and I literally go through the LP collection on a Saturday night with a few scotches and go, man, how cool would it be to write for Jeff Martin? And quite honestly, that's how it was. And so I was getting lessons off Bruce Bouillet for a while, and when I say lessons, I was being taught every single time with that guy. He's a Martian, and I just said to him, look, I'd really like to connect with Jeff. I'd love to write for him. What are the chances? And Bruce was gracious enough to hook us up, and I spoke to
this is quite a while ago. This is like a year something ago, wasn't it, Stu?
Yeah, mate. This is actually a year and a half ago. I got the phone call for Jeff, the phone number, and quite nervously rang him, and he was really cool, and I had 3 or 4 songs already written for him, specially written for him, that I really wanted to send him. And so I said to him, look, there's a couple of ways you can go, and as you can appreciate, I'm dealing with 11 singers on an album that have different touring schedules, they have different funding requirements. And some guys I just can't afford. I've approached some guys that, I just can't go there. And I said to, we made a deal, and I said, look, I got a few songs I'd really like you to sing on, and off we went. Well, Jeff is singing better now than he's ever sung before. And the songs that he sent back, you can't fake chemistry, right? You can't bullshit chemistry, dude. It works or it doesn't. And I heard these songs through, and I was just so excited. And I said, look, I'd really like you to sing on a solo album. I'd love to release a solo album. And look, man, one thing came to another, and I think, I was talking to Jeff, and he was talking to me, and he's like, man, these songs that we've got, they're a strong. I think there were 4 tracks. They're really strong, and
right.
we had connected, as Jeff says, a year and a half ago, but we only connected on this new band in December of last year.
Yeah.
So we're talking about something that's like 9 weeks old. And the time was, because like I was touring like crazy last year. Jeff was very busy. And
well, you know what it was is I was actually having some heart problems, and I got sidetracked, and finally, with the fantastic medical system in the United States, which sucks ass, I couldn't do much about it, and it turned out to not be anything, and a pill I'm taking just to slow my heart down a little bit and make the whoop-de-doo stop. I finally cured that, and then I'd already done a couple of these tracks for Stu, and then I dug back into them, and the amazing thing about the way Stu writes is not only he's a great guitar player and a great and a great, what he's really great at is, and I don't even know how he does it. We haven't worked together in the same room yet. He's really great at programming symphony-sounding parts, like on a keyboard. Do you do that on a keyboard, or how do you do that, bro?
Mate, I actually do that painstakingly, a blip by blip. So I can't read music, but I actually know how every note sounds with intervals. So I hear an orchestral part in my head, and usually the problem for me is I hear around a 9 or 10 part orchestral piece. So I know how the horns are supposed to sound. I know what the violin strings are supposed to do. I know what the oboe is supposed to do. And I know the notes. So I can actually go in and actually plot it out blip by blip. And I know how everything sounds. So it's actually a pretty easy process for me having that vision. But yeah, I love working with that stuff.
Well, what this, and this ought to, if this doesn't get your curiosity going to have orchestra part, well, yeah, and there's snippets and there's small parts that build in between places, and they're amazing, and they just conjure so many images. And the way I write a song is I have, and believe me, Stu's the only human being I have ever sent my treasure of, I got a couple hundred song titles, and that's the way I write a song. Is I listen to music and I look up and down my titles, and something will stick. That sounds like this, or that sounds really dark, and it sounds like, and that's how I start a song, is by title, and then I go from there. And so these intros that he has, and some of them he wanted to change, but I got the song from the intro itself, and I said, dude, you can't change that. It's where I got the song. It's the whole meaning of the song is from this intro. And when you hear this stuff, you're just going to be blown away. It's going to be fantastic. And the thing about it is when we are on stage, all we'll need is a keyboard player to play these parts, and we'll be able to pull this stuff off live with no problem, along with doing some Racer X, and hell, I say we do some Halford too, or do some Judas Priest too. We got the guy from Halford, so let's have a party. So yeah, the mixture of this stuff isn't your normal average metal. And believe me, I've been yawning at a lot of metal for so long that I'm just going, I'm gonna go play blues for a while, and that's what I did. So. Yeah, and I just, every time I would listen back to what we were creating, I just go, holy crap. I mean, listen, and I'd play it for my daughter and my wife, who are my biggest critics, and they just look at me, stone-faced and go, what is this? This is amazing. And we've got Stu had a funny little, I said, we need to build something on an album like we're both Black Sabbath fans. And I love how Black Sabbath always had these little snippets in between songs, and I always call them sonic palette cleaners. So you're not getting your head sawed off the whole time. All of a sudden, Tony Iommi will do this crazy little thing with an echoplex that's going beep, 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 and it just gives you a little break. So I told Stu, I said, do you got anything that we could play acoustically that is just one acoustic guitar? And he goes, oh, I got this really cool, it's kind of like an Irish lament song. And he sent that to me, and it turned out the title of it's called Lovesick Blue, which at the time I thought was the sappiest title, but it fit in this thing so good. I play this for women now, and they fall into my lap weeping. So I think it's going to work.
So now you're talking about Blast at the Static. You've gotten the call, and you set your lineup. By the way, who are the other?
Well, we've got Mike Davis
guys
on bass, who I've toured extensively with. He's my soul brother. He's kind of like the reincarnation of Bob Daisley and Geezer Butler combined. So he's God, he is a bass beast. And he's the reason. You got to remember that when Rob Halford wants a solo band and does his solo stuff, Mike's the guy he calls for a reason. So he's in the band, and the drummer is an Australian guy. So we've got two Aussies, who's a buddy of mine for about 25 years. His name's Clay. And he's essentially the guy that when people need session work from Sony, or they need high-level session work, there's one guy they call. And this guy's really one of the best rock drummers on the planet. And
plus he looked like Brad Pitt, cool. So that helps.
So Clay's you know, not a lot of people know who Clay is, but they'll know after this album. And he was the perfect choice to bring in. Look, let me say to your listeners, I'm a huge Racer X fan, and I said to Jeff, look, I understand that we have to unleash our creative musical exploits however we want to do that. I don't like having a voice muffled because of it won't sell or it's this or that. Listen, there's lots of tried and tested traditional metal here. You know, we're not pushing the envelope to a point where people are going to be lost. What you're going to get here and what we're experiencing is a really great fusion of fresh musical feel with very you know, stuff's going to still sound familiar, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted Clay as a drummer, is that I'm metal to the core, dude.
Well, let me ask you this: what's been the response from fans on the social media?
Well, mate, it's I've got to tell you, it's actually quite overwhelming. You when you get the concept, like you know, we started doing this properly in December. So, you know, for the last 8 weeks, we've been firming up, you know, the photos, the imagery, the social media presence, the tracks, all this stuff. And man, I can tell you, there's this buzz happening with people that are just really excited to see what's coming next. You know, Jeff's dearly loved in the industry and also by fans. So, you know, I've had these private conversations, you know, with Jeff, where I've been, you know, we've been talking about, you know, I'm not Paul Gilbert. I'm not within the realm of Paul. But I do my thing, and you know, I think at the end of the day, the reception's been fantastic. People are starting to learn my kind of body of what I'm about, and we're quite overwhelmed. I think we're very surprised, and I think the timing feels right. People are looking for something that's honest and real, and they're going to get it with this band.
Yeah. And it's come down to, you know, me even, you know, like I said, I'm the guy in Racer X that came up with the Extreme Volume Man. I'm always working on album covers. I love art. I love the visual part of it as well as the writing part. And that's, like I said, that's what side of my brain works. And if you go onto the Blasted Static website, you'll see a TV set that's in static with the logo or the name on it, and I did that myself. And my whole idea behind it was to put stencils of letters, and then like you have for equipment per se, when you go out on tour, you stencil the band name onto the anvil cases, and then you're done. You know where it's who owns it and where it's going. Well, I did that on the front of a very old Zenith TV set, and then turned the TV on, and it's going to static. And I was going to spray paint the letters on the screen, but when I put the stencils up with the tape, it looked like to me, it looked like a ransom note on a TV with static. It just blew me away. It was one of those things that everything that Stu and I have been doing, we're just blown away. It just happens. Stuff is happening. And we're just going, well, there must be a reason for this. And let me just tell you a really short story, because this band name also comes from a real thing. And my daughter is in college right now, and she wants to be a writer for a top magazine and a photographer. She's you know, getting her degree in that right now. And I would always tell her old stories about band stuff and music and old bands I was with and what we were doing. Well, I told her when I was 12 years old, I was a paper boy, and Paranoid, Black Sabbath Paranoid, had just come out. And I had a shitty little cassette player that I had Paranoid in, and I played it probably 1 billion times by then. And I'm delivering papers at 5:30 in the morning with Black Sabbath Paranoid on 10 on the shittiest little fucking cassette player you can imagine, and all it was doing was, oh, it was, and I told her, I said it was Blasted to Static, and she looked at me and she went, "Oh, Dad, what a name for a band!" And this is years ago. I've had this title for years, and like a lot of the new bands now, they all have three names in their title, like Falling in Reverse. It seems like everybody's running out of the single names or the double. We're on to 3 words. Well, this has been stuck in my craw for the right band, and here it is. And what better thing can a band name come from the heart of a 12-year-old little pimple-faced metalhead who wants metal so bad that he's turning it all the way up and knows every note, and it doesn't matter that no one else knows what's going on. He does.
That's a great story, Jeff. Oh, man. I want to talk briefly about this aspect of music and being in a band has always fascinated me, and I know thanks to technology it has gotten easier and harder at times. You guys live across the world from each other. Can you each comment on what it's like to write a song at such great distances? Are you able to write and produce with immediate feedback, or do you have to, wait till the internet comes back up? How's that process been for you guys?
Well, I got to say, mate, that's actually where, for me, a little bit of a strength lies. I've done, this is the 4th Empires of Eden album, where I've written remotely for almost 40 singers. And so, for me, I actually find it a strength. And luckily, to this day, none of the singers that I've sent stuff to think it sucks. So the idea is as a writer, what freedom to write for a voice that you love and you're a fan of. I guess I ask you the question, Brian, and anyone that's listening, just think for a second how Blackie Lawless's voice sounds. Then think, okay, how Rob Halford's voice sounds. And so as a listener and a lover of metal, as a fan, this provides me with this great opportunity to compose music specifically for these people as a fan. And so I got to tell you, there's a little bit of freedom there for me to actually think grand concept, because I'm presenting Jeff with pretty much finished songs. And that's what I do with Empire. So for me, it's actually been a real blessing to present some material to these singers, and I've been able to lock in. And Jeff and I have used the modern technology to its absolute best. I know there are people,
and it's really great that we're not in some cases. I think we get more done by not being in a room together, because we get to spend time in our own room. We don't have somebody breathing down our neck, or I got to show him something right now. I've got to come up with this right now. We got space. And even when we're talking on Voxer, we have seconds to listen to I just listen what he says. I might replay it again, and then I got time to think on what I want to say as a retort, and it's just working in a positive. I mean, in a big positive way. I think we're getting way more done by doing it this way than if we were living next door to each other, or even living in the same house together doing this stuff.
So you're able to get immediate feedback from him, Jeff, if you send him some lyric or another.
It's amazing. I don't even know how the hell he can read this stuff so fast. I mean, it's bouncing all the way to the other side of the earth, and he's already knows what I said, and I just, it's a 2.5 minute, bunch of ideas I just gave him, and he's got the answers immediately, and he comes back, and it's pretty amazing, actually. It's almost like he's reading my friggin' mind or something.
Well, this is, I've got to say here, Brian, this is what you talk about chemistry.
Uh-huh.
Now, I've been very blessed to find a different kind of chemistry, obviously, with Death Dealer. That's how Empires of Eden spawned that band. Doesn't happen all the time, and you can't manufacture it. With Jeff, there was a direct chemistry, and guess what? I throw Jeff ideas, like really crazy ideas, and I think, man, I really hope he goes for it, and he really went for it, and vice versa.
There isn't any of his first 6 songs that he sent me.
Yeah.
Those are all those turned into real songs, every one of them. And I haven't changed any. Personally, I have with Bruce's stuff, and on those 25 songs I wrote with Bruce, I had to put in an extra 16 bars in a chorus, or move a bridge here or this. I haven't moved anything. The only thing that got moved is after Stu hears it, he goes, "Oh, I've got to come to bat on this," and all of a sudden he's doing some orchestra. I mean, literally, it was 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and I had been at NAMM, the NAMM show in California all week long, and I haven't heard any of the new stuff that he had worked on, and I decided to go to our Dropbox, and there's a song, it's called "Delivered from the Ashes," and it's a song about a witch who gets burnt in Salem, and her coven of witches bring her back from her burnt ashes, and she comes back and devastates the whole fucking town. She takes out everybody. Yeah. And I have a chant in the middle of the song with I got all these pretty girls in my area, 12 of them to be exact, around a microphone, 3 tracks of them going, "Earth, wind, rain, and fire, stir the ash and raise her higher. Earth, wind, rain, and fire, stir." And it builds, and he built this orchestral part that I fell out of bed when I heard it. And I got right on there and go, "Dude, you are the fucking greatest thing. Oh my God." And it's so amazing to throw these ideas. I'll do a melody line thing, and I just can't wait to get a retort back from him, because I know, because the way things have been going, I know he's going to love this, And he didn't even tell me he did that, and on that build-up part for the witch chant, and it completely, right now, it's the best part of the whole song. Screw anything I've sang in it. Just this breakdown part that goes into the lead is just going to floor everybody.
So finally, guys, tell us what's up and coming for Blasted to Static, and really any of the projects you've got going on. Where can fans get news and merchandise and music for the projects you've talked about?
Mate, very exciting year. 2015 is going to be huge for the band. BlastedToStatic.com is the place currently for all information. We have a Facebook page, which is just Facebook Blasted to Static. We're interacting with people directly all the time. So if you come there and ask a question, there's a good chance it'll either be myself or Jeff that'll answer you. We've got samples online right now. I've got a brand new video that we're going to be uploading pretty soon, but there's a sample there. You can actually get the flavor of exactly what this thing's about. And we're also going to be designing some really cool merchandising packs. Once the debut album is finished, we're talking to some labels now. But definitely BlastedToStatic.com is the place to go. And we're there interacting with people every day.
Stu, what happened to the twins? Did you ever put the twins up on anything?
That sounds like personal stuff there, David.
Or was that something just for me?
That's something that I thought we'd do for a bit of a laugh, but that's.
Oh no! You gotta put that up on the side. That thing is just so. To hear 2 beautiful women like that actually say my name and not ask me for something is just so amazing.
Stu, I gotta admit, I kind of want to hear the twins now.
I think due to public opinion, that's got to go up. So leave that with me. I'll manage.
All right. We'll get you guys links.
And then also, tell them how they can get. I just signed a bunch of 8x10s that we had made up for NAMM, and we are sending them to people for free with my signature, or depending on what side of the world, Stu's signature. I just sent Stu 150 of these with my signature, so he can actually send a double one out on his side of the world. But tell them how they can get that, Stu.
Yeah, so what we did is we thought, look, all you have to do is come to Blasted to Static's Facebook page. Then all you have to do is grab that link and share the link on your page. And then after you've done that, send us a private message with your home address, and we'll send you free of charge a hand-signed 8x10 promotional card. These are very limited, and they are hand-signed directly by myself and Jeff. So all you got to do is...
some with the thumbprint. If my silver ink happens to drip on the page, I press my thumbprint on it and I sign, yes, this is my thumbprint.
But yeah, we're sending these out free of charge. Just drop by. That's the idea, man, is, we're fans as well. And if people are interested in the band and they want some free hand-signed stuff, drop by, share the page, and hit us up with your home address and an email, and we'll keep you in touch.
I signed up this afternoon. It's super easy to do. I would encourage all you listeners out there to do the same thing. We're going to have that stuff up on Facebook page also, so you guys can have easy access through the Great Metal Debate page also. Thanks, Stu Marshall and Jeff Martin from Badlands to Static. We're going to look forward to hearing from you guys soon.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I appreciate the time you put into this, mate, talking to us, and I got to get my ass back over to the States pretty soon. Hopefully we can have a couple of beers.